For 2 long years, this deer walked through forests and across roads with a tire locked around its neck. Not a rope, not a wound. A heavy rubber tire that never loosened, never broke, only tightened as the deer grew. Seasons changed, antlers grew larger, but the tire stayed the same. Every step was harder. Every breath was heavier. People saw it. Cars passed. Cameras clicked. And then life moved on. No one knew how much pain it carried in silence. No one imagined how close it was to losing everything. Until one unexpected moment, when the sound of sirens echoed through the trees and hope finally arrived. But what happened next would change this animal's fate forever that day. The first time people noticed the deer, they thought they were seeing things. It stood quietly near a narrow forest road, sunlight falling across its spotted coat, looking calm, almost normal. Almost. Then they saw it. A black rubber tire hanging around its neck, resting against its chest like a cruel collar. Drivers slowed down. Some stopped. Others stared in disbelief before continuing on their way. No one knew how it got there. Maybe the deer pushed its head through an abandoned tire while searching for food. Maybe it got trapped near a dumping site deep in the forest. What shocked people most was that the deer was still alive and moving. Days turned into weeks, and the deer kept reappearing in the same area. Locals began to recognize it. The deer with the tire, they whispered. Many assumed nature would take care of it. They believed the tire would fall off on its own. But it never did. And with every passing sighting, it became clear this wasn't temporary. This was the beginning of a long, silent nightmare no one had stopped yet. As months passed, the tire didn't loosen. It became tighter. The deer grew, but the tire did not. What once hung loosely around its neck began pressing into flesh and fur, rubbing the same spots day after day. Hair slowly disappeared where the rubber touched. Skin hardened. In some places, it broke. Still, the deer kept moving, because survival gave it no choice. Summer brought heat, and the heavy tire trapped warmth against its body. Winter followed, cold and unforgiving, the tire collecting snow and ice as the deer pushed through deep forests. Each season added weight to its struggle. Its antlers grew larger, stronger, making it even harder for the tire to slip free. Other deer ran, jumped, and fought freely, but this one carried an unchosen burden everywhere it went. Eating became harder. Running from danger became slower. Rest brought no relief, because the tire never left. Over time, it wasn't just something stuck around its neck, it became part of its body. A constant reminder of human waste left behind. And yet, through pain and exhaustion, the deer survived. Not because life was kind, but because nature is stubborn. 2 full years passed like this. 2 years of silent suffering, hidden between trees and passing cars. And still, no one had stepped in to end it, until fate finally decided enough was enough. The moment that changed everything didn't come from a rescue team. It came from one person who refused to look away. After seeing the deer again, still alive, still trapped, they realized time was running out. The tire had been there too long. This wasn't something nature would fix on its own. So they made the call. Wildlife authorities were alerted. Local police were notified. Photos were shared. Locations were marked. For the first time in 2 years, the deer's suffering was taken seriously. When experts reviewed the images, the situation became clear and urgent. The tire was embedded deep. The deer was fully grown now. Removing it wouldn't be simple, and it wouldn't be safe. A rushed attempt could kill the animal. The rescue team began planning carefully. They studied the deer's behavior, its movements, the safest place to intervene. Tranquilizers were prepared. Equipment was checked and rechecked. Police agreed to secure the road if the moment came. Everyone involved knew this might be their only chance. If the deer panicked and ran, it could disappear forever. One mistake could end its life. And as the plan came together, one thing was certain. After 2 long years, help was finally on the way. The rescue began quietly, just as the deer stood on the edge of the forest, unaware that its life was about to change. Police vehicles blocked the road in both directions, lights flashing softly through the trees. The forest fell into an unnatural silence. No engines, no voices, just tension. The deer lifted its head, confused, the tire still heavy against its chest. Every movement showed how much it had endured. The wildlife officer took position. One shot. The tranquilizer dart struck, and suddenly time felt slower. The deer bolted forward, panic in its steps, running on instinct alone. Seconds felt like minutes. Everyone watched, holding their breath, fearing it would disappear into the forest forever. Then, gradually, its movements weakened. The deer slowed. Its legs trembled. Finally, it collapsed gently onto the ground. The team rushed in. This was the most dangerous moment. Too slow, and the deer could wake up. Too rough, and they could cause serious harm. Tools came out. Hands worked fast, but steady. The tire, cracked and hardened from years of wear, resisted at first. Then, finally, it gave way. With one final cut, the rubber fell apart and was lifted away. Beneath it were scars, deep marks, proof of 2 years of pain. But there was also relief. For the first time in its adult life, the deer's neck was free. As the team stepped back, silence returned. Some looked away. Some wiped their eyes. They hadn't just removed a tire. They had taken away 2 years of suffering in a single, unforgettable moment. After the tire was removed, the deer was carefully monitored as the tranquilizer slowly wore off. Its breathing steadied. Its body, exhausted but alive, began to respond. The deep marks around its neck told a painful story, but the wounds were clean, and the damage, while serious, was not fatal. This deer had survived longer than anyone expected. Now it finally had a real chance. When the moment came, the team stepped back. The deer lifted its head, lighter than it had been in 2 years. It stood unsteadily at first, then stronger, as if testing a freedom it barely remembered. And then, without looking back, it moved toward the trees. Each step carried something new, relief. Within seconds, it disappeared into the forest, no tire, no burden, just another wildlife returning home. The broken tire lay on the ground behind them, silent, useless, a reminder of how something so small, left behind without thought, nearly cost a life. This rescue didn't happen because of luck. It happened because one person cared enough to speak up. Stories like this don't just belong to animals. They belong to us. Because sometimes, saving a life doesn't require heroism, just attention. And sometimes, the difference between suffering and survival is a single phone call made at the right moment.